All right, well, let's dig into all of this with CNN safety analyst David Soucie. He's also a former FAA safety inspector, and he joins us now live from Denver, Colorado via Skype. David, always good to have you on the program. So, United settling with Dr. Dow, but how far will this go towards repairing their reputation after all that happened?
I'll tell you, there's a long way to go to repair the reputation for something like this in an airline. I did receive an email this evening from Oscar Munoz, and so did many of their customers, talking about what they're going to do, how they're going to change things. But it's promises until they actually see what happens here. What they've said is that they're going to go up to, rather than the $800 limit they had, now they're going to go up to $10,000 limit on the reaccommodating of passengers. But it's really interesting what he did say, and that is that he feels that they've lost track of the customer value. They've lost track of the respect to the customer, that they have placed the requirements and that their regulations and their processes took higher priority than their customers. And he said that he promises to reverse that. So we'll just have to see if that's true or not.
Yeah, and to be fair to United, they're not the only one. There has been this kind of shift over the years where airlines have become so powerful, all the power's been in their hands, and customers, the consumers, been treated with something you could say approaching contempt. The question is, will this change across the industry as a whole? Is United going to lead the way?
Well, there's an over-reliance not only in customer handling, but in safety itself, an over-reliance on the checklist, saying this is the way we do it. There's no anomalies. There's no way to change things. There's no way to have common sense in the way that we do things. And this has gone over and over and over in this fearful and more secure environment. People are worried about security. They're worried about things. So what happens is the customer service personnel start relying on these checklists. They say, we have to do this. We can't do that. It takes the personal responsibility out of it so that they can just go down the checklist. And I think that's what happened here. There were policies and procedures. They said, I'm sorry, this is the way it is. You've got to live with it. We're bigger than you. We're more important than you. And this is the way it has to happen. And so the people get lost. They lose any kind of respect for what's going on for the customer. And I think that has to change.
Yeah. David, let's also look at another issue right now plaguing the airline industry. Look at the American ban of electronics on flights from 10 African and Middle Eastern airports. The head of the Department of Homeland Security is warning that those restrictions could expand everywhere. Here's how he's justifying that. Take a listen.
The threat is real, and this thing could expand. And I'm looking at it 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. It is the thing that keeps me awake at night.
So, David, John Kelly, they're pointing to possible security threats for increasing the restrictions. When you hear that, this ban on electronics could be expanded, what goes through your mind?
Well, it needs to be done cautiously. Again, we go back to this checklist thing of saying it's a threat. We know it's a threat. There's a lot of threats. There's a lot of hazards. There's a lot of risks that we take. But a measured threat, a measured risk is what's important to do here. If you just simply say it's unsafe or there's some chance, a remote chance that something might happen, and you react to that, you're at risk again of coming back to this thought that the checklist says, hey, there's risk here, so we can't do it. You're going to get back to the place where the only safe place to be is not flying, not driving your cars, not walking outside. Yeah, that would be much safer. But at some point, you have to assess the risk. And certainly he's the right person to do that. So I'm not taking it lightly that he said this is a real threat. It really is. But I'm just cautious. I want to make sure that we're not just overreacting for the sake of the process and overlooking the fact that every passenger understands that there is some risk with taking a flight. There always has been. There always will be. But at what point do you start saying it's no longer worth it? It's too much risk for me.
Yeah, some very important perspective there from our own David Soucie, joining us there from Denver, Colorado. David, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.